All right, we're in Matthew chapter 8, and we're in verse 18. Last week we talked about Peter's mother-in-law. I just want to kind of go back and talk about, there was a leper that was cleansed. Jesus just said, I will. He's cleansed. He's healed. There's a servant of a centurion, thank you, who is fearfully tormented. And I think some of us really deal with, maybe if I step aside here, some of us really deal with the fearful torment in our life. There's just plain feeling sick all the time. And Jesus comes in and touches. Jesus comes in and delivers us from fearful torment. It says that he cast out many demons and healed everyone. And, there just should be more of an expectation in our life that if Jesus is in my life, he's doing good things in my life. Friday at our team meeting, we just talked about the good things, and it's just, I had to shut it down. We ran out of time. There's just so many good things, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and shouldn't we just begin to expect good things? Let me read this verse to you in Matthew chapter 8:18, the next story, all right? 18, wherever it is. Now when Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to depart to the other side of the sea. Then a scribe came and said to him, Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus said to him, The foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Another of the disciples said to him, Lord, permit me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said to him, Follow me and allow the dead to bury the dead. When he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. Quite a story, huh? Pretty crazy. Jesus says, a crowd gathers around him, which I thought that's what he wanted. It says he decides to depart to the other side. And then says the word, follow me. And I think that is so awesome, really. So many crowds gather around Jesus expecting him to serve them. And he goes to the other side and says, follow me. And I wonder, the stories, some of the stories, they followed him. They ran around the sea. One place, they beat him there on foot. Now that's a group of people who want Jesus. In this one, we don't get to see that part of it. We just get to see a scribe who is called a disciple, by the way, which surprised me. I didn't know anywhere in the book a scribe was called a disciple. But it said another of his disciples, meaning that was a disciple that said that, I'll follow you anywhere. And this is what he said. I think most of us in the room would say, I will follow you anywhere. And honestly, the spirit of this answer is, really? You will? Are you sure? Foxes have holes. Birds of the air have nests. I got nowhere to lay my head. Are you sure you want to follow me? You go with me, you may have no place to lay your head. Are you ready to trust me for where you live, what you'll wear, what you'll eat? Are you willing to trust me with that? I bet if he took offerings with buckets, he would prove them wrong. Christian church today doesn't trust him. The way the scribe trusts him, or he's asking the scribe. Bird, really? You'll follow me anywhere. But I'm not going where you're going to have plenty. You're not going where you're going to be comfortable. You're going to follow me anyway. Jesus is using this follow me verse, these words, follow me. It's crazy. He walked up to men fishing and said, follow me. And they dropped their nets and did it. But this is how he did it. He went out there and he performed many miracles and walked on water for them and raised the dead for them and said, see how many things I do? Do you want to come with me? Would you like to be part of this? I'll make you rich and famous. Come with me. And he walked away and they followed him. Does anybody recognize that that's not exactly how the story went? If I were to do altar calls like that, man, I'd have amazing success. I would. And I've been in altar calls like that. 50 of you are going to give $100 today to God's man. And if you do, you'll be rich and famous. I bet I get a couple of you to give $100. It'd make my day. But Jesus didn't say that. He didn't even come anywhere close to that. He goes to men. Now, we know from history that John the Apostle, his name is Zebedee, and his brother's name is Zebedee. And there was a famous company in those days called the Zebedee Fish Company. And he was allowed into the high priest's house. He was there for the trial of Jesus, and he wasn't accused. He was the son of a wealthy man. Peter was a fisherman who had an income, and Jesus said, "Follow me." And they dropped their nets, and they followed him. He didn't ask them, "You sure you want to?" He just said, "Follow me." That's how he did it. Follow me. And they did. Now, they ended up finding out they were sleeping on rocks, in dirt, walking on dirt roads. They were going from here to there, to there, to there, to there. And people were, at one point, trying to kill them. Eventually, they all had to run and hide because they chose to follow him. He told them up front. He told them this was going to happen. But they didn't really recognize it. They weren't really thinking like he was thinking. And later they said, "Oh, do you remember what he said? This is what he said." Why didn't we get it when he said it? And I'm going to ask us, why don't we get it when he says it? I'll follow you, Jesus. I'll go to church every Sunday morning. Or I'll go to church when it's okay, when it's convenient. Or I'll give what I can afford. I'll follow you, Jesus. Really? You know, birds have nests. Most people have homes. But you follow me and you got no guarantees. In fact, I have no place, and you come with me, you'll have no place. Is that a price you're willing to pay? Well, is it? Then another one of his disciples said, "I'll follow you, but let me bury my dad." And of course he said, "Well, of course go bury your dad. That's a no-brainer. Don't worry about all the things you got to do." I mean, there's following me, and then there's your real life, and we all know that, right? There's being a Christian and following Jesus, and then there's what we have to do, right? What about, there's following Jesus, and then there's what I want to do. There's following Jesus, and there's what the law says I got to do. And of course, we know that, you know, how many times I've been told, "Hey, this isn't church." I remember Ron Harmon. I didn't mean to come to church at an AA meeting or something. Someone starts preaching Jesus. He used to stand up and interrupt him. "I didn't come to hear Jesus." Well, now he's a Christian and he came to hear Jesus, but it was so funny when he'd tell that story. I've heard that a million times. "Don't turn this job site into church." Oh, well, that was church before you got here. Because wherever I go, that is where he is. And where he is church. The gathering of believers. Anybody hear me? So, Jesus decides to depart. Are you going with him? The whole point of the story is follow me. Why is he leaving a crowd? Because they're getting fed free food, they're getting their demons cast out, and their bodies healed. You think maybe that isn't Jesus' point? You think maybe that isn't his number one thing he wants to get accomplished in this world? I'm not saying it's not. I'm just asking. What do you think? He's right in the middle of healing them and delivering them from demons, and he leaves. I'm going. And what's he going for? To see who's following him. I wonder what his number one thing is. Another place he says, "My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me." Am I a sheep of Jesus Christ? Every day I'm on the guard. Every day I'm on the watch. Am I following Jesus or am I following me? Every day someone's trying to get me to admit I'm following me. And boy, if it's true, stop, drop, and roll, because my butt's on fire. I need to follow Jesus. And when I say to you, follow me, if you're not able to follow Jesus, follow me. I'll lead you to him. I better make sure I'm on his trail. Right. If he's on the other side of the lake, that's where I'm going. And if you follow me, you're getting where he is. Right. That's the purpose of man following man. Because I wasn't able until men showed me how. I'll follow you, Jesus. Really? It's going to cost you. No builder starts a project unless he first adds it all up and sees if he can do it. Makes a material list, makes a plot and a plan. I use a critical path scheduling. Make sure this all works. This is going to go together fine. We can do this. Let's go ahead and start. I suggest you not start around the lake unless you think you can follow him. And that's basically what he's saying. Now, birds of the air have nests. Foxes have holes. Are you going to be able to, I have nothing. Are you going to be able to accept that? Is that going to be okay with you? You going to be able to give all? You going to be able to lay down your life? Well, I would, but I need to bury my dad. Really? I think you should do the one thing that matters. Follow me and let the dead bury the dead. Ooh, that might leave a red mark, that word. Might make me offended. I think I might be offended. Who does he think he is telling me to let the dead bury the dead? He thinks he's the only hope of salvation for all of us who have gone astray and lost our way and have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, which, if that isn't you, please let me apologize for saying these things to you. But for the rest of us, let me encourage you. We've got hope, guys. We've got truth. We've got a way, a truth. We've got a life, and it's going to bring us so many good things, but that's not why you should follow him. You should follow him because he has the truth, because he's the shepherd. You should not follow him because he heals. You should follow him because he has made a way for you to see heaven, to know righteousness, to feel the presence of God and know and be accepted by him, to not feel rejected by him but accepted by him. How about them apples? I want the whole 9 yards. I want the whole banana. I want the whole thing. I do. And if it's on the other side of the lake, that's where I'm going. Where he is, I'm going there. What he's calling me to do, he wants me to be lonely. He wants me to be in a crowd. I'd much rather be alone, but he wants me in a crowd. I'll be in a crowd. If you like being in a crowd and he wants you to be alone, you should probably accept that. Whatever he wants is okay with me, because whatever he wants, that's the only thing that matters. Right. Anybody here hearing me? Yes. I mean, are you following what I'm saying? Yes. Let me read a verse to you that's in Matthew chapter, I can't even read it, 16, verse 24 through 26. It's going to be right there. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone wishes to come after me, on the other side of the lake or not, he must, not should, deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. Is that like a guess? If you might lose it. I don't think so. Will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Pretty plain stuff, huh? Really intimidates a few people that I don't have a college education. But do you really need it to understand that? For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? I have very simple taste, very simple wants in my life. I want to run the race to the finish line, be faithful to my wife, be strong and faithful for my children. A very simple taste. If it's possible, I would like to be used by God in this world to lead others to him. To say, are you looking for Jesus? Did you know he's going to the other side of the lake? Those of us called his disciples are going with him. Why don't you come with us? Very simple taste in this world. I'd like to be able to understand this book better, but that's not a condition for me. That's not even really that important to me. Knowing that I follow him is what's important to me. No, I would love to be like him. More and more every day. Heal my wrong thinking. Teach me your ways. But the day I found out he didn't reject me, and he should have, I said, this is somebody I can walk with. Because he should have rejected me, but he did not. So I will not reject him. He doesn't have a place to live. I'm okay with that. I'm going with him. He said he's making a mansion for the future. Okay. Now, in that decision, I've never been homeless. But you know, that's really funny that I forgot I was homeless. I became homeless on July 8th. I forgot that. But I think it's also funny that a woman who owns 15 houses thinks we're homeless. I mean, isn't it weird how we think? I'm thinking I've never been homeless, and I have. And she's thinking we have been homeless, and we haven't. It's kind of like both are true, and it's kind of like, who cares? We have never been without Jesus. Her since 1979, me since 1975. He has never forsaken us. He has never left us. We have had a life that everybody should envy. I mean, it's a life full of love, a life. He actually used me, a dumb carpenter, to lead many people, including her, to him. You follow me? To raise children. And I mean, I'm telling you, children do not come out with owner's manuals. They don't. They don't come out with operating procedural step-by-step instructions. And they're all different. So if it came out with instructions, it would be wrong half the time. Because what one works with one doesn't always work with the other. It's crazy stuff. Right, parents? It's like, whoa, it's like the mystery of the universe. And yet I raised kids and did well. We raised kids and did well. Two totally selfish people learned how to be selfless with one another. How did that happen? By following him. Really? I'm going to give my life away. Are you ready? Can you give yours away? I'm going to be hated by many. Are you ready to be hated by many? Is that okay with you? Anyone who would come with me better be ready. You got to deny yourself. Pick up your cross, follow me, and if you love your life, you're going to lose it. If you despise your life, you're going to find it, and it's going to be good. What's he mean? Is this hard to understand? No, it's not hard to understand. Another of his disciples. What's a disciple? I mean, that word disciple. We don't use it anymore. I said it in Michigan. I said one of my disciples does this. It was like sucking of air out of the room. That I would call anybody my disciple. It's like, you guys have no clue what disciple means and how good it is to be a disciple and how good it is to have disciples. People who are learning from you how to be his disciple. That's all it means. That's all it is. People who are trying to imitate him and they look at your life and decide, I'm going to imitate you. That'll help me get back closer to imitating him. Another of his disciples said, I'll follow you if I get to do this. And I think many of us want to be his disciple, but we have a bunch of conditions. I'll follow you. I'll be your disciple if I get this. I'll be your disciple if I get that.
That's right.
Hubba, hubba. You give me her and I'll be your disciple. Oh, come on. You know that's the most true statement in the room. Yeah. I'll follow you if you get me out of this trouble. I'll follow you if you help me win the lottery. I'll follow you if I'll follow you. Hey, let the dead take care of dead stuff.
Good.
How about you walk away from your death into life? Amen?
Good.
Is it? Good. That's what I was aiming at. So he said, follow me so many times. The rich young ruler. How do I get to heaven? Obey the commandments. I will. You've done this. You haven't done that. You still lack one thing. Come and follow me. You want to get to heaven? Follow me. Follow him. What does that mean, follow him? Like just tell everybody you're doing it? I don't think that last verse allowed that. I think it said must deny yourself. You got to make what he says is important. It's all about you. It's not going to be all about you. Let me repeat that. That's an important one. If life is all about you, eternal life is not going to be all about you. If it's not all about you, you got a shot. He goes to the other side of the lake. If he goes through the lake, if he walks on the lake, follow him. Even if you sink, he'll run over and grab you. If you're following him, he'll take care of you. If you're not following him, he will take care of you. And it ain't going to be good. Weeping and gnashing of teeth, I think we read last week or the week before. Many will come from the east and the west and recline at table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But the sons of the kingdom who claim to be following him, they will be set out. There will be sadness. There will be weeping in Ramah, it says, for those who were lost. Let's look at John chapter 8, 31 through 36. I love this verse. So Jesus was saying to those Jews who had believed him. See that for next word? If. I say this maybe about too many words, but I'm going to say it again about this word. The most ignored word in the Bible. Could we just not ignore it today? Just how about everybody say at once the word if? If. Try it one more time. If. One more time for the Holy Spirit. If. There you go. So, if you continue in my word, then you are true. And then, that means, what word then means is after you've established the if, you continue in my word, then you are truly disciples of mine. See that it says? See, I don't take that for granted. Every day, I want to look at the road I'm on. Am I following what he says? I don't take if and then for granted. If you continue in my word, then you are truly my disciple. I don't know where people get the Christianity they live from. I don't know where what pile they dig it out of to believe in it. It says, follow me, and following him is this. And if you would be my disciple, you must deny yourself. Pick up your cross. I don't want crosses, but I want to follow him. So, okay, put that cross on my shoulder and let's go. Fear and trembling, heck yeah. Cross on my shoulder, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be worried a little. I'm going to be looking at it going, whoa, we're talking serious stuff here. No place to lay your head. Crosses. Self-denial. Am I walking in this? You may not do that every day. I do that every day. I look at the landscape every day. Does this look like the road I'm supposed to be on? Does this look like the road he walked? Am I any more like him today than I was yesterday? Am I any less selfish? Any more selfless? Do I love as he loves? Am I a sheep? Do I hear his voice? Am I answering the call to follow his voice? Every day I look at the landscape to answer this question. Am I his disciple? Here's the thing. I listen to you. Some of you tell me I'm doing good, and I do listen to you. It means a lot to me, but it doesn't mean everything. I need personally more than you telling me I'm doing good. I need to look at my road. I need to look around and say, am I on the right road? I need to look up the road. Is it going in the right direction? Is that heaven? Is that prize before me? That's what I need to do. I don't think I was done reading those verses, was I? Got carried away there, sorry. Let's go back. Let's pick up where we left off. Then you are truly disciples of mine. You will know the truth, and the truth will make you free.
Amen.
Wait a minute. The truth that makes you free is based on an if and a then. Don't forget that, in case I took us on a bunny trail. They answered him, we are Abraham's descendants and have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say you'll become free? Jesus answered them, truly, truly. This is the truth. I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave of sin. Can we just, go back? Say it out loud. Truly, I say to you, say this. Everyone who commits sin is the slave of sin. Don't take my word for it. Take his word for it. Look at the landscape. The truth sets you free. They said, how do you mean? We've never been a slave to anyone. Really? Everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Oh. Whoops. Uh-oh. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The son does remain forever. What's the prize you want? To get kicked out of the house? The reason he said that, I have to explain, because it is an important point. He made a point that he's talking to Jewish people. But he's not just talking to Jewish people. And what he's telling them is, as you live and you continue to sin, saying you're not a slave because you're a Jew, you will be asked to leave eventually because you continue this way. If you don't follow me and believe in me, you don't get to stay in the house. That goes back to the verse that the sons of the kingdom will be kicked out, and those who come from the east and the west, you and me, Gentile peoples, get to remain in the house forever. And the other part of that's exciting is we get to become sons. The sons get cast out, and the east and the west Gentiles get to become sons and daughters. Look at the promise. And remain forever. I don't know what you just heard me say. There's too many of you to ask what you heard me say, but I want you to remember something. The becoming of a son and remaining forever is dependent on the if and the then.
That's right.
And don't ever forget that. No matter if angels themselves come down floating through the ceiling with their wings flapping to tell you something different, Jesus is telling you that.
That's right.
If and then, you get to remain forever. That's my goal. I want to be said of me by the Lord, enter in, my good and faithful son. I'm passionately, whether this church ever continues or doesn't, whether the world comes to an end, I want to stay faithful, eye on the prize, pressing on, further up and farther in, fulfilling the if to be his disciple,
Right.
doing what he says. Verse 23, can we put that up there? Of chapter 8 in Matthew, verse 23. Let's get to that. I will finish with this. You see this? When he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. If Jesus is going towards uber grace or uber atonement or all the different messages in the kingdom, if he's going towards fabricating testimonies so that it sounds like he's great, if he's headed that way, you better go with him. But if he's not, you better not, because this is what the truth is. His disciples go with him. So whatever he says, that's what his disciples do.
Right.
Jesus sent 2 guys to go steal 2 donkeys in Roman-controlled Jerusalem. They went and stole 2 donkeys. And this is what he told them. If anybody questions you, just tell them your master needs them and it'll be okay. Yeah, sure. Like, you know what they do to donkey thieves in Roman-controlled Jerusalem? When they got back with the 2 donkeys, this is what Luke says. They found it was just as he told them it would be. And I'm telling you, doesn't matter what preacher's telling you what thing, what PhD, Dr. Steve, Dr. anybody tells you something. It doesn't matter what they say, because it's not going to be how Steve says it's going to be.
Right.
I am on a journey, and if I don't do the if and the then and accept the then that comes my way, I will be lost. And if you follow me, you'll be lost. But if my eye is on the prize and my journey, my feet are on the pathway that stays the course, the straight and the narrow, I will find it just as he told me it will be. And I will be the one that gets to sit at the table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And everyone that follows me will sit at the table.
Right.
The weight of the world is on my shoulders when he called me to pastor.
Right.
Told me not to worry about education, that he would equip me to understand these verses. And these verses are so clear. The crowd arrived and he says, I'm going to the other side. Who comes with me? Follow me. I'll follow you. Whether you have a house or whether you have a pillow? I don't think so. I'll follow you. Let me bury. No, let the dead bury the dead. You follow me. You're going to find it's just as he told you it would be. He said he's coming to judge the living and the dead, and that his words will judge us. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. His words will judge you. You're going to find it just as he told you. Not advocating donkey stealing. I'm advocating doing what he told you. I'm telling you it's going to be what he says it's going to be, not what anybody else says it's going to be. He told a story where he was healing and he was casting out demons. And he left the crowd because that was not his most important issue. It is a great issue. It is an issue you should look for. You should invite him into your life and let him heal you, definitely. But that is not the most important decision you have to make. Whether my body is healed or not healed, I still have to follow. That's the number one thing. Whether my body is healed or my body is not healed, I have to declare his goodness, and I believe it. It's not a real big have to, because I believe it with all my heart, that he is good and he is Lord, and whatever he says is okay with me, and if it's going to be just the way he told me it's going to be, that's what I want anyway. So we're in agreement. I want it just as you said. He said, behold, I go and prepare a place for you. In my Father's house there are many mansions, and I prepare a place for you. And he meant each of you. He prepares a place for you, and it's going to be just the way he said. You can count on it.
Right.
If he's staying in Oroville, I want to be in Oroville. If he's leaving Oroville, I'm sorry. It's been fun, but I got to run. I want you to know, as far as I know, he's staying in Oroville, so am I. He's still healing. He's still casting out demons. And here's the best thing for me, and I don't know if it's good for you, but it's really good for me. He's still using me. He still allows me to be a tool in his belt, from my vernacular. He allows me, his presence, to be the household of God. That's pretty good. You have to decide for you. But I suggest with all of my heart that you follow him.
Right.
I'll tell you what, if you follow me, I'll lead you to him. A lot of people in my world, they can't follow him. Well then, until you can follow me, I won't let you down. Walk with me, I'm safe. But if I'm not going where he's going, then you run. If I'm not doing what he's doing, you run. Because the only thing that matters is in the end, you end up having followed Jesus. And whatever he says. Last phrase, well, I said I'd close with that, but I got one more thing. Any man who hears these sayings of mine and acts upon them is like the wise man who built his house on the rock. And the winds and the waves came, and that house stood. Be that person that follows Jesus. Listen to him. Amen?